Welcome to Just Off the Highway. I'm Prodgers. This is part 2 of my personal take on the legend of Jock of the Bushveld. If you haven't yet watched part 1, the link is somewhere. But to quickly get you up to speed, I traveled to the Sabi area near Kruger Park, and I wanted to just connect with nature and walk some of those paths that Jock and his human had traveled 140 years ago. And I was also looking for a particular monument to the transport riders and the gold prospectors of that time. And I found it. It is neglected and abandoned and completely fallen to ruin. And that experience just reinforced my instinct that stories need to be protected. They are more resilient than monuments, but they can still be killed if they're forgotten. And it reminded me that the best adventures need traveling companions, friends and family and coffee. Now, Percy Fitzpatrick, he was the luckiest of all because he had a dog that taught him how to live. Folks, if you're enjoying Just Off the Highway, please hit that like button and subscribe. And if you are able to help me make more of the kind of content that you like, why not join our growing club of members and supporters who also get regular exclusive bonus features? Just go to buymeacoffee.com/lprodgers and add some support. You can contribute as little as $2 and you don't have to make an ongoing commitment, so you're not at the mercy of the exchange rate. Every drop helps fill the bucket. When Fitzpatrick was an older man, he first told about his adventures with Jock as bedtime stories to his children. These kids called themselves the Little People. Now, they loved these exciting tales. They were as fiercely protective of Jock's legacy as he was of his human. So, another adult, a friend of Fitzpatrick's, also used to listen and tell stories to these little people too. And he was an author and a poet, and he enjoyed Jock's adventures so much that he encouraged Fitzpatrick to write them down as a book, which it's pretty good advice from someone who knew a thing or two about the art of storytelling. His name was Rudyard Kipling. Can you imagine what it must have been like for those children to go to sleep hearing the voices of the creators of the Just So stories and the Jungle Book and Jock? It must have been magical. And Fitzpatrick did write the book. It was published in 1907 and dedicated to the children, to the little people. It's never been out of print since. This is a first edition, and I am very lucky to be holding it. There are illustrations on almost every page by Edmund Caldwell, and he visited South Africa before making the drawings. But he made 2 mistakes that Percy Fitzpatrick wanted changed. First, there's this drawing of a horse being rescued from a river. Now, Caldwell had drawn the riverbank so impossibly high that Fitzpatrick thought it made the story completely unbelievable. And then there's the really famous mistake of a dung beetle, which is rolling its ball of dung with its front legs instead of its back legs. And Fitzpatrick knew that that was inaccurate, so he wrote to the publishers. But by the time the changes were made, the first edition and several reprints had already gone out. So those books that had been sold before the corrections were made, like this one, became very rare, sought-after collector's items. And I want to say a special thank you to Barbara, who preserved this book so that I'm able to show it to you. Barbara, your loving care of books and art and history is inspirational. Thank you. But back to this illustration, because modern experts have pointed out that although dung beetles roll the ball of dung with their hind legs, they do form and shape it using their front legs too. So Caldwell might have observed this action And so maybe his drawing was accurate all along. The writing of Jock of the Bushveld is harsh by today's standards. I mean, the book contains attitudes and certain words and derogatory racial terms that are, look, they're uncomfortable to read and they're utterly unquotable. But it describes a wild world, a world populated by dangerous animals and harder people, and one unforgettable dog. You see, although the words and the worlds and the people will change, Jock is still the best of them all. When Fitzpatrick was telling the stories to his children, he wasn't holding up the humans as the role models. He wanted them to understand the nobility of the dog. There's only one thing Jock couldn't do. Brave and faithful as he was extremely vulnerable to the neglect and cruelty of humans. So to become fully Jock the hero, he needed his person. Now, times have changed, maybe, but the reality hasn't. Dogs still need people who care. In return, they give us a reward that's just greater than gold. So I've chosen to end my story in the play area of my favorite animal rescue center, Dogtown, South Africa. You see, the truth is, it wasn't Jock's breed that made him special. It was his heart. He was just a little terrier mix. Here at Dogtown, there are so many unique doggos to fit their different humans. There's the perfect combination of fur and heart, waiting to join you on your life's journey. Every one of these dogs is a hero already. They just need you to see them for who they are already. Okay, so the ending of Jock of the Bushveld has made quite a few tough guys shed a few tears. But you can give these modern animal stories a much happier ending. Contact Dogtown or your local animal shelter. Save 2 lives. Have some legendary adventures. Or just simply contribute in any way that you can. The contact details will be on your screen in a second. So till next time, if we meet somewhere just off the highway, I'll be the weirdo patting the dogs.